Mike, wait, do you smell that? I think the oven is on and something is burning.
Oh no, the chicken. It looks like a piece of coal, Anna. It's completely black. I spent 2 hours on this dinner and now it's a total disaster.
Don't cry over burnt chicken, Mike. It's a legendary fail, but it's perfect for today's podcast. We are going to show you exactly how to talk about cooking disasters in English.
I'm so frustrated, but you're right. When your dinner is a nightmare, you need the right words to explain the mess and suggest the plan B.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Context English podcast. I'm Anna.
And I'm Mike. Still a bit hungry because of my chicken, but I'm here.
Today, we are focusing on how to talk about cooking disasters in English. We've all had those moments where food fights back and everything goes wrong in the kitchen.
It's a very practical topic. Whether you burnt the toast or used salt instead of sugar, you need to know what to say. By the end of this episode, you will know how to describe kitchen mistakes, talk about recipes, and most importantly, how to handle a ruined dinner with confidence.
So, Mike, I know you are sad about your chicken, but you are not alone. Last Sunday, I had a disaster that was even worse because I didn't even burn anything.
Wait, how can it be a disaster if you didn't burn it?
Well, I decided to make a big pot of vegetable soup. It was a cold day, and I wanted something healthy and warm. I chopped the carrots, the onions, the potatoes. I was feeling like a professional chef. I even had some nice music playing in the kitchen.
That sounds very peaceful. What went wrong?
I reached for the salt. At least, I thought it was salt. It was in a glass jar near the stove. I put 2 big spoons of it into the soup. I thought, this needs to be tasty.
Oh, I think I know where this is going.
10 minutes later, I took a big spoon to taste it. Mike, I almost jumped out of my skin. It wasn't salt, it was sugar. 2 big spoons of sugar in a vegetable soup.
Sweet vegetable soup? That sounds interesting.
It was disgusting. It tasted like a dessert made of onions. I tried to fix it. I added lemon juice. I added more water. I added real salt, but nothing worked. It just tasted like salty, sour onion candy. I felt so stupid. I worked so hard on that soup, and I had to pour the whole thing down the sink.
Oh, the sink. That is the saddest place for a meal to end. I know that feeling of looking at the food you worked on and realizing it is garbage. It's so frustrating.
I was so annoyed with myself. I just sat at the table and stared at the empty pot. I was hungry, I was tired, and I had a kitchen full of dirty dishes and no food.
That is the worst part, the empty stomach realization. But you know, Anna, these stories are great for learning English because we need very specific words to describe what happened.
You're right. When the food is disgusting or too sweet or burnt, we need to explain it to our friends or family.
So how do we talk about these disasters without losing our mind? What phrases can help us describe the mess?
Well, we definitely need a kitchen survival kit. But before we look at the phrases, Mike, tell us about that perfect Italian dinner you mentioned. I need to feel better about my sweet onion soup.
Oh, Anna, this is the one. This is my legendary disaster. It happened about 3 years ago. It was my girlfriend's birthday, and I wanted to be a hero. I decided to make a perfect Italian dinner from scratch.
A romantic dinner. That is so sweet. What was on the menu?
Pasta carbonara. Now, for our listeners, carbonara is famous because it is simple but very tricky. You use eggs, cheese, and pepper to make a creamy sauce. But there's a secret. You cannot cook the eggs too much or they become, well, you'll see.
I think I know where this is going. So you were in the kitchen, you had your ingredients. Did you follow the recipe?
I did. I was reading it like a scientist. I was so careful. I had the best cheese, the best pasta. I was feeling so confident. I even wore a white apron. I looked like a real chef.
You looked the part. So what happened when you started cooking?
Everything was going well. The pasta was boiling, the kitchen smelled amazing. My girlfriend arrived, she sat at the table with a glass of wine, and she said, "Mike, it smells incredible in here." I felt like a king.
Oh, that is the moment of maximum danger, when you feel like a king. The food usually fights back.
Exactly. So the recipe said, add the egg and cheese mixture to the hot pasta and mix quickly. But I forgot the most important instruction, the one that was written in small letters at the bottom.
What was it? Turn off the heat?
Yes, turn off the heat. But I left the stove on high. I poured the eggs into the pan, and instead of a beautiful, creamy yellow sauce, I heard a sound like sizzle.
Oh no, sizzle is a very bad sound for a carbonara sauce.
It was a disaster, Anna. In 5 seconds, my beautiful sauce became scrambled eggs. I had scrambled eggs with spaghetti and bacon. It was dry, it was lumpy, and it looked like a very strange breakfast.
What did you do? Did you try to fix it?
I tried, I added more water, I added more cheese, but it just became a wet yellow mess. I was so disappointed. I looked at the pan, I looked at my girlfriend, and I just said, "Happy birthday? I made you pasta eggs."
Oh, Mike, I feel so bad for you. All that work. Did she eat it?
She took one bite, she looked at me, and she started to laugh. She laughed so hard, she almost fell off her chair. She said, "Mike, this is the worst thing I have ever tasted, but it is the funniest thing I have ever seen."
That is a great girlfriend. So, did you have a plan B?
We did. We went to the living room, we sat on the floor, and we ordered 2 large pepperoni pizzas. And you know what? It was the best birthday dinner ever. We spent the whole night talking about my scrambled pasta.
I love that. The lesson is, even if the food is a disaster, the night can be a success. But I think you learned something about recipes that day, right?
I learned that you have to read the whole recipe before you start, not just the top. And I learned that Plan B is the most important ingredient in any kitchen.
So true. Well, Mike, I think our listeners are ready for their own survival kit. Let's look at the 5 phrases you can use when your dinner becomes a disaster. Mike, I still can't stop thinking about your pasta eggs. But hey, at least you have a great story now. Let's look at the kitchen survival kit so our listeners can describe their own disasters.
Phrase number 1 is the most common one. It is, I burnt the whatever you were cooking.
I burnt the... Let's hear that again.
I burnt the. Use this when the food is black or too crispy. For example, oh no, I forgot the bread in the toaster. I burnt the toast.
Classic. Phrase number 2 is about the flavor. It tastes a bit too salty.
It tastes a bit too salty. One more time.
It tastes a bit too salty. You can also say too sweet, like my soup, or too spicy. For example, I think I added too much salt. It tastes a bit too salty.
Phrase number 3 helps you explain the why. It is, the oven was too hot.
The oven was too hot. Again?
The oven was too hot. This is a great excuse when the outside is burnt, but the inside is raw. For example, the cake is black on top. I think the oven was too hot.
Phrase number 4 is my favorite because we always say it when we are confused. It is, I followed the recipe, but...
I followed the recipe, but... Once more?
I followed the recipe, but... Use this when you did everything correctly, but the food still looks strange. For example, I followed the recipe, but the sauce is very thin and watery.
And finally, phrase number 5, the rescue phrase. It is, let's just order a pizza.
Let's just order a pizza. Let's hear it again.
Let's just order a pizza. This is the perfect solution for any disaster. For example, the dinner is ruined, Anna. Let's just order a pizza.
5 perfect phrases for any chef. I burnt it, it's too salty, the oven was too hot, I followed the recipe, and let's order pizza.
Okay, let's hear these phrases in action.
Imagine Anna is in the kitchen. She is trying to make a special pie for a party. I just walked into the house and I can smell smoke. Anna, I'm home. Whoa, is it foggy in here? Why is there so much smoke?
Oh, Mike, don't look. It's a disaster. I tried to make my grandmother's famous apple pie, but look at it. I burnt the crust completely. It looks like a giant Oreo cookie.
Oh, wow, it is very dark. What happened?
I don't know. I followed the recipe, but after 20 minutes, I smelled something strange. I think the oven was too hot.
Well, maybe we can just eat the middle? Let me try a little bit.
Wait, don't!
Ugh. Oh, Anna.
What? Is it okay?
No, it tastes a bit too salty. Did you put salt in an apple pie?
Salt? Oh no! I used the big jar on the left. That was the salt for the pasta. I am the worst cook in the world. I'm so embarrassed.
Hey, don't worry about it. It's okay. It's actually a funny story. But I am really hungry.
Me too. I'm exhausted. Let's just order a pizza.
That is the best idea I've heard all day. Pepperoni?
Yes, please. And maybe some garlic bread.
Now, let's listen to the key parts again. Pay attention to how Anna describes the problems.
I burnt the crust completely. I followed the recipe, but it smells strange. I think the oven was too hot. It tastes a bit too salty. Let's just order a pizza. Well, Mike, I feel a lot better now. Even professional chefs have bad days, right? My salty apple pie isn't the end of the world. It is just a funny story for later.
Exactly, Anna. That is the most important thing to remember. A cooking disaster is just a story you haven't told yet. Don't be afraid to make mistakes in the kitchen, and don't be afraid to make mistakes with your English. Both things take practice.
So true. Today you learned how to say, I burnt it, how to describe tastes like too salty, and how to explain that the oven was too hot. These are small phrases, but they give you the power to explain a situation and laugh about it.
Here's your actionable tip for today. Next time you are in the kitchen, even if you are just making toast, try to describe what you are doing in English. Say to yourself, I am following the recipe, or I hope I don't burn this. It sounds simple, but it builds your confidence.
I love that. It makes cooking feel like a little English lesson. You are doing a wonderful job, everyone. Learning a language is like learning to cook. Sometimes you burn the eggs, but eventually you make a masterpiece.
Stay hungry for knowledge, stay curious in the kitchen, and always have a pizza delivery number ready.
Thank you so much for joining us on this messy episode of the Context English podcast. It really means a lot to us that you spend your time learning with us.
We had so much fun sharing our disasters, but now we want to hear your stories. What was the biggest disaster you ever had in the kitchen? Did you use salt instead of sugar too? Tell us in the comments. We promise we won't laugh. Okay, maybe just a little bit.
And if this episode made you smile or helped you learn something new, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us grow this amazing community of learners.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Keep practicing, keep cooking, and don't worry if things get a bit smoky. That is how you know you're trying.
See you in the next video.
Bye for now.
Bye!